In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down and describing the mid lane role in Predecessor. This is to help you better understand the role and ultimately decide if this is the role for you. Hey guys, I'm Stanky Queso. After already putting in hundreds of hours into Predecessor and countless more into other MOBAs, I understand how confusing these games can be. And with almost no information online explaining how to play Predecessor or any of its roles, I'm here to help you not only become more knowledgeable of the game, but also help you figure out which of the 5 in-game roles best suits you. As a quick explanation, mid lane can be played by pretty much any character, but the hard set and typical pick for mid lane is casters. When you spawn into the game as mid lane, it should be pretty obvious where you're going to be headed. Mid lane is cut down the middle of the map with the most visibility and most access from each side of the jungle. This causes a high risk factor in playing mid lane. Mid lane also has 2 river buffs, one behind each fog wall in the mid river. These river buffs are going to be the main buff of focus for the mid laner. These will not only provide increased benefits to your stats, but will also provide instant mana regen, which can significantly increase the time you stay in lane. There are 4 different river buffs, each providing their own benefit. The gray river buff provides increased movement speed. The pink river buff provides increased ability damage. The green river buff provides a small shield to yourself. And lastly, the orange river buff provides increased attack speed. As a mid laner, you'll be trying to achieve 2 main objectives through the game. First is trying to farm consistently so that you are one of the first players in the match to complete their builds. This is because one of the main responsibilities of the mid laner is to help assist the jungler and other lanes, as mid laners can have some of the highest ability damage in the whole game. Your second objective is applying constant pressure to your lane and enemy towers. If you're able to push up the enemy mid lane and destroy multiple enemy towers, this will allow you to rotate a lot easier and a lot faster, as mid lane has quick access to both duo lane and off lane. This will help accomplish ganks, rewarding you more gold if the kills are secured, and help your team take more enemy towers, which will apply even more pressure to the enemy lanes, as well as provide even more gold. During teamfights, you should be sticking behind your team's support and jungler, the same thing you would do as a carry. This is so you can deal high poke and AoE damage to the enemy team without risking your life. In cases that you can't be behind your team, or if you're not close to them at all, then you must utilize your character's kit to its fullest potential. This is because most casters in Predecessor, if used correctly, have the potential to wipe entire enemy teams. For casters or mages in mid lane, there are 3 different things that you want to incorporate into your builds. First is obviously magical power. This will increase the total damage of your abilities. Second is mana and mana regen. It is extremely important to have mana at all times, as casters use mana to activate their abilities, which is typically where all of their damage comes from. Lastly is magical penetration. This lets you hit even harder than before, as your damage will now go partially through the enemy's armor. But don't be worrying about builds just yet. Until you get a good grasp of the game, its mechanics, and an overall feel of how everything works, just stick to using the recommended builds. These builds are well-rounded and for the most part should let you relax a little while you're still trying to learn the game. If you feel like you've gotten to the point where you're tired of using the recommended builds and would like to start trying new builds, feel free to join my Discord in the description below, where I've compiled a list of builds for you guys to use. Starting off early game, you should be treating mid lane as if you're carry. This is because you will have very little damage and even less health. It is also at this stage in the game the enemy jungler is going to want to try to gank you the most at your weakest point. Just make sure to stick close to your tower for that quick protection and only venture out to help your jungle or to secure the previously mentioned river buffs for the instant mana regen so that you can stay longer and farm. Now, you should be dishing out a lot of damage. You should be on par, if not better than your carry at this point. Your main focus should still be to push the lane and farm, but you should also try to incorporate yourself in every team fight that happens, as you could be the turning point for those fights with how much damage you should be doing. In late game, you should be hitting harder than Will Smith at the Oscars. It's mid and late game that casters truly shine, as once your build is complete, you could possibly be doing even more damage than the carry. So, it is now imperative that if you weren't doing so before, that now you especially stay close to your team and use them for protection. Entire games can be decided by a single team fight, and if you die providing no help or contribution to the fight, it could lose your team the game. But on the contrary, if you're able to cast all of your abilities, dealing damage numbers in the thousands, you could single-handedly win fights and games for your team. And that's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video or learned anything new and helpful, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And before you head out, make sure to check out my channel for my other how to play videos to see if any of the other roles better suit you. Have a great day, guys. Peace.